Mm.
Welcome. We have the great privilege of having the one and only Jade Shutes here. She is, in my estimation, the voice for true aromatherapy training in the United States of America. I'm honored, Jade, to share your courses. Your Foundations of Aromatherapy course is just epic. There are 2 variations. If you're watching us, there will be a link below this video for you to sign up for the one that does have internal use and the one that doesn't have internal use guidelines in it. So thank you for being here, Jade. Today we have a very specific topic, and that topic is menopause. I want to start by saying that it is so real. If you're watching us and you haven't started feeling symptoms of alteration to your cycle yet, stay with us, because for me, I wish I would have had this conversation that's about to happen. I wish I would have had this a little sooner in my understanding, in my lexicon of what was happening in my body. It's very real, the fluctuations that happen. It seems as though at times, at least it did for me, that I was not the agent of my own life. And it was really harrowing for me. Of course, I have the oils as the tools. Of course, I have the beautiful supplements as the tools. Of course, I have so much understanding about nutrition. But I know that you had the similar experience, Jade, where there were months where I just could not figure myself out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm inviting our viewer or listener to know that if you are having these feelings of total inadequacy, insecurity, doubt, fear, discomfort in this body that you were given, please know that you're not alone. What we're going to review today are a little bit of our own experiences and the top essential oils that we can use to mitigate symptoms of menopause and actually begin to enhance our experience of our body during this process, during this transition, which is a very sacred and important transition to honor, to respect, and to really slow the pace of things in order to really feel it properly. So Jade, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for sharing that, because for sure, some of what we're going to be talking about today, I wish I had known as I was going through this process, because yeah, it was a journey of first resistance and frustration and what's going on and why can't I do that, or seeing myself differently, to embracing the changes, right? Like being more empowered by them and allowing them to kind of work themselves out through growing through it. Do you know? Instead of fighting and resisting, it was more accepting and learning and the beauty of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
Prior to this recording, our viewer or listener, we communed on email to suss out the top 5, 6 oils that would be, really the most top of the lists for someone like Jade, who just knows everything about everything when it comes to essential oils. The first one that we came up with that Jade shared with me is Cypress. And Cypress is, no matter what company you're with, Cypress is important. It moves the energy, helps with fluid retention, oily skin, so many different things. I put it on my dry skin brush every day before I shower. Jade, talk to us a little bit about the compounds in Cypress and why this was at the top of your list.
Yeah, so Cypress has monoterpenes, so it's, a kind of a lighter aroma to it. And yet also I chose it when I think about Cypress, even though it's energizing and in a way expansive, it's also contractive. It holds space. So I chose Cypress for that when we feel overwhelmed or anxious or, what's happening Cypress is a great essential oil, just even inhalation, to kind of bring one back to hold the energy without it overwhelming the body or the mind. Yeah,
It does feel,
that's
I
why.
feel an astringency that I never picked up on before hearing you say what you've just said. An
Yeah,
astringent.
there is, because I mean, even though it's a conifer, it's from the, needles, it still has, that very contractive quality to it. It's also great for hot flashes. It's a great essential oil to combine with another oil we'll talk in a moment, rose, make an aromatic spritzer, and in the midst of a hot flash, wake up or during the day, spritz the face and the body, and it just has a cooling quality. Yeah.
Much more sexy, that combination, than peppermint.
Yes, exactly.
So like massage also on your legs and your feet and your ankles, or if you are lucky and have somebody who can massage you, for fluid retention. Also really nice to use for a workout, which I've been doing before I do even just the weights that I do here in my little space. It feels so good. And like I said, on the dry skin brush is really nice.
That sounds amazing, actually. I'm going to try
Yeah,
that.
really nice. And there's some alternates, and I wanted to check in with you on this. Perhaps our viewer or listener doesn't have any Cypress at the moment. How do you feel about alternating juniper berry, arbor vitae, or cedar wood? What do you think is the
Those
best
are
for
all
that?
three great substitutions for Cypress. Absolutely. Similar chemistry, similar therapeutic qualities. Yep.
Cool. Heavy monoterpenes. Let's go to rose. You mentioned that. It's my favorite in my face care. It's just the best. Wonderful for balancing your mood, obviously, your libido and your emotions. Real talk, for many months, my libido completely disappeared. I was so alarmed that I started doing yoni steaming with herbs, not oils. Please don't steam your yoni with oils, please. Please. Steaming herbs. And I started taking MenoPAUSE from doTERRA, which, by the way, if you haven't tried it, I'm going to send you a box, Jade. I can't believe I didn't think of this sooner. MenoPAUSE, taking MenoPAUSE once a day, sometimes I miss a day, usually 5 times a week, has given me back my libido.
Ooh.
And although I've not had a cycle since February, I now have I have no discomfort there, let's say, which is a very serious change. Rose.
Thank you for sharing that. And please do send me some. I'll try it.
What's happening next after we get off this call? I promise. I can't believe I didn't think of it sooner. But
okay.
in my notes, I wrote that rose improves mood, low feelings. I use it in my skincare, hydrates and evens the skin, increases libido, helps us move through emotions and stay heart-centered. But then, and my dear assistant Aparna wrote this down, balances hormone levels. And I'm curious to know exactly if that is true scientifically, if that's something that we can say that is possible or not.
Yeah, I think it's possible. As we move into like these really incredible scientific findings about the real deep, rich connection between the mind and the body, and through our sense of smell, because we're affecting the limbic region, which then the hypothalamus, which then is like the pituitary, the adrenals. So of course they can have a hormonal effect. And so if we smell, even just smell rose, part of that olfactory response could potentially be this balancing. So it is completely possible. There's no science per se or a research study, but I think we sense it and we feel changed. I chose rose because I'm in this phase. I'm 5 years out, I think, from my last menstrual cycle, maybe even, yeah, probably about 5 years. And what I'm dealing with inside myself is the changes in my skin. Do you know, even though I really take care of my skin and I exfoliate and I go see an esthetician and I have all these treatments, it's different from when I was in my 20s or 30s or 40s. So I chose rose as this like I have to accept, right? It's about accepting oneself. And so, you know, because I'm never going to be 20 or 30 again. And so rose I use in my cream, or I just smell it, or I make a roll on, or just something to be self-loving and self-compassionate and accepting of this,
Beautiful.
process. Yeah.
Beautiful. I just put a lot of rose on. I forgot that I had taken the little
I've done that.
my hands, and now it's all over my head. And I can say, you know, to this comment that you made, there isn't research on it, but there is your own experience. And when you smell rose and you really take it into your body, there's a reconnection to the most feminine energy within. And that is always my experience. And it does work super well in skincare. I've used it for many, many moons in my skincare for years. Okay, let's go to geranium. Speaking of skincare.
Yep. So geranium I chose, you know, just for me, when I trained as an aromatherapist, it will always stay in my mind that geranium is about balance. There was something about balance, be it jet lag or excess conditions. Geranium can bring it into balance. And this is another one that can potentially help balance hormones. There's a slight astringency to it, a more contractive. It would work well with Cypress.
Yes.
But I did, and then also it does have a rose type scent, right? A floral aroma. So also that emotional part, that emotional quality of being heart-centered and compassionate towards self. Yeah.
Yes, I feel that. And I would like to say for our viewer or listener, geranium on spots. And by that, I mean blemishes. By that, I mean oil collection in certain places in your skin. Please remember that this geranium can be dotted from the bottle with a clean finger directly onto the spot. I don't say that about many, many oils.
Yeah.
Geranium goes right on the spot, and it has in it, and I would love for you to explain, Jade, if possible, certain compounds that actually act in an antimicrobial way.
Exactly.
Talk to
Exactly.
us.
So geranium, if I think back to its chemistry, I would say it's probably the sesquiterpenes and monoterpenols, like monoterpene alcohol components, which help with that antimicrobial activity. Geranium's another one, or another kind of application like that is for cold sores. Geranium can be really helpful, or like the herpes simplex that, you know, can get triggered by stress. So using geranium can really help that resolve. Yeah.
I did not know that. That is very good to know.
Yeah.
Other alternatives for that, if you are working with that, would be obviously Melissa tea tree.
Melissa, tea tree. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to neroli.
Even Cypress. Yeah.
Even Cypress. Wow, good to
Even
know.
Cypress. Yeah.
Neroli and skincare is incredible for in my notes here. Hydrate skin, calms the heart, improves mood, and actually rebalances low feelings. Let's talk about that for a moment.
Yes. I use a lot of neroli these days. So just kind of soothes the stress response, calming, nourishing. Another one like rose, very heart-centered, does do, you know, it's a great one if you have an unscented cream to add into a cream and use on the skin. As you say, it's just like such, regenerative is the word that comes to mind, a regenerative quality to the skin.
Oh.
And so if we think of Rose as like the queen mother, Neroli is the princess, and there's a gentleness in that. There's even though we may be growing older, we still have that spirit in us. Do you know the Neroli spirit? Does that make sense?
It does. It's so sweet. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would learn.
Yeah. So it almost brings a sense of joyousness, of still, joy.
I actually that upon smelling it. In my notes, I also include that it evens the skin tone and can help with blood pressure.
Yeah.
I think if we're going to speak about that really accurately, one would speak about the fact that it does calm the system. It calms emotions. And in that calming, there might be a symptomatic lowering of one's blood pressure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
We have Vetiver and Tangerine left. Where would you like to go next?
Yeah. So Vetiver, I chose Vetiver for its grounding, its earthing quality, right? Again, as we grow older or we go through menopause, we can become ungrounded. Like you were saying, it's like, I went through the same thing. It's like, what am I doing? Like, who am I? My libido, my connections overall were just all really shifting. And how I felt about them was shifting, or easily frustrated or whatever, unfold. Vetiver I used, it's cooling. So Vetiver, that's why in some countries they have Vetiver fans, because the Vetiver is cooling to the body. So it's
true.
also so hot. It's true. Hot flashes, or when you're a little bit more irritable, Vetiver can be really helpful. And it brings you right back into your body, kind of that deepen that breath, cooling the anger or irritability.
Cooling. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. If you do like ethnobotany research, it's like, they would make fans. I can't remember where it's native to. I want to say even like in Haiti comes to mind. And that just the air going through the vetiver is cooling to the body and the mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. In my notes, I have actually decreasing mental fatigue, which follows.
It can do as well. It can do, because some of that mental fatigue comes from being overwhelmed or all these thinking or what's wrong with me, or so by bringing it and grounding it.
Yeah. I have also that it is good in skincare, and I've used it a couple of times. I've mixed. I remember just last winter, I made a cream for my skin with vetiver and rose, and it was delicious. Dawns on me that I have to make it again.
The best.
Yeah, it was warm. It was really nice.
Yeah.
Especially here because I'm in the at elevation, so that was really helpful.
Yeah.
What would you blend vetiver with before we move on to tangerine? What would you blend vetiver with if you were going to put it in a diffuser?
Tangerine.
Oh my God.
Tangerine would be a great combination for it, because it would thin it out, it would make it less viscous and easier to be diffused into the environment. Yeah, so it's a good gateway into tangerine essential oil.
I often mix vetiver too with bergamot.
And bergamot, any of the citrus oils you know? Tangerine, again, like I realized when I gave you some ideas around oils that come to mind for me around menopause, where I'm at right now is the emotional, kind of the water part of menopause, you know, the emotional. So with tangerine, another one that kind of dances with the child within, because tangerine, if you think about it, tangerine is something we eat as children. You know, it's, I mean, we eat them as adults, but there's something quite special about tangerine and the way it smells. So there's this innocence, this youthfulness. So yeah, tangerine. And then tangerine has you know, it does actually have studies supporting it to help relieve anxiety, where it calms but doesn't sedate per se. So it calms the spirit, it calms the emotions, but uplifts as well. So that's what I think about tangerine.
I cannot thank you enough for that. I don't want to keep you much longer. My assistant, my dear assistant Aparna, made a list of a few more, and I just wanted to give you an option to check these off if we could. Basil. Yes, great.
Yeah.
Clary Calm, which is a blend of clary sage and a few other things.
Perfect. Absolutely.
Clary sage, of course, we know
Clary
that.
sage.
Jasmine.
Yeah.
Jasmine.
And jasmine.
I love jasmine. Also, the same as rose. I mean, it's a floral. It's increasing libido. It's helping us to.
Jasmine definitely has a strong and powerful effect on libido, for sure. And you only need a small amount of it. Yeah.
Just sniff it.
Little.
And then I have lavender and peppermint, of course.
Yeah. Well, basil, just going into basil a little bit. Do you know what I didn't make comment on is the brain fog, the memory, right? So on top of nutritional aspects, I mean, I'll be even like, what is, you know, the thing you run across the floor that sucks dirt up? It's like, oh, the vacuum. I find myself having to really describe things. So basil can be helpful in that arena, do you know, to help with memory.
You know, I find basil, I've been using this for years. I don't even think about it anymore. I take a little blend of doTERRA's balanced blend, which is already diluted, put a few drops in my hand, put 1 drop of basil into that, rub my hands together, put them right on my lower back. I do this every day, like I'm brushing my teeth.
Nice.
And it helps me so much.
Yeah.
I get so much done in the morning after that.
That's beautiful. I love that. I'm going to try that too.
Yeah. Whatever carrier oil you like, but I love Balance because it has the black spruce and a bunch of other florals
Which
and
is perfect. Yeah, and black spruce is good for, do you know, the what we call adrenal fatigue, right? It can be really beneficial. Yeah, for adrenal
I was just
fatigue.
doing it because it was conveniently already diluted.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Jade, I'm pretty sure that we're going to have to do this again for other topics, but I'm just so thankful for your wisdom and your presence here in this little series of talks on menopause. Anything else that I have not touched on that you feel would be important to add before we close?
I think that I really enjoyed it as well. So thank you so much.
Welcome, most welcome. And again, for our listener or viewer, just below this video, we'll have links to Jade's Foundations of Aromatherapy course. It is the signature course of Aromatic Studies. It is by far the best aromatherapy course I've ever taken. And I'm just so grateful for Jade's presence in my understanding and my learning over these years. So thank you so much.
Elena. Right back at you.
Yeah. See you again soon for sure.
Okay. Have a
Bye.
wonderful day.
You too. You too. Bye.